Okay, I'm making my response like I said to Trace's video on the Elite XC. And I'm gonna make a point is I wasn't really even disappointed by this card, which is because I looked at the card and right off you could tell it wasn't the best card you could make. Even Elite XC doesn't have the most deep talent pool of fighters. They're getting better, but they're still not there. And this card still was kind of lacking. I mean, there was only really one compelling fight that I was tuning in for, and that was going to be Scott Smith and Robbie Lawler, which I'll touch on later. Phil Baroni, Joey Villasenor. To me, the result was kind of obvious. I mean, Smokin' Joe's a former professional boxer. He may have only been amateur, but he was a successful boxer. And he's well-rounded. He trains with Greg Jackson's camp, whereas Phil Baroni trains with not a good camp. Only has striking, and probably not better striking than Joey V. So that was kind of a toss-away fight. Brett Rogers and John Murphy, that was also a toss-away fight. Brett Rogers should have probably fought Kimbo Slice on this card. I mean, he beat James Thompson, and if you do a little back-checking, you realize that, yeah, I mean, they protect Kimbo to a certain degree. I realize that Kimbo's only had now 3 professional MMA fights and probably should be somewhat, and shouldn't be fighting with top 10 competition or anything. I mean, it's too early in his career for that. But if you're going to promote him as your top heavyweight, you need either to stop doing that or throw your best competition at him. And he's not their best heavyweight. I mean, Junior Silva's, by and large, a considerably better heavyweight. He's well-rounded. He's probably stronger and larger than Kimbo. He's been doing this longer than Kimbo. That being said, Kimbo had to be on the card. I mean, he's a huge promotional tool, but it shouldn't have been the main event, and it shouldn't have been either one of two things. It either shouldn't have been against James Colossus Thompson, it should have been at least against Brett Rogers, or it should have been not hyped up to the point that it was. And it should not have been the main event. That should have been the title bout between Scott Smith and Roger Lawler. The female fight, I agree, Gina Carano has to be on there. They push Gina. She is skilled, but they push her a lot because of her looks, of course. And I'm not big on that, but I'll admit that's probably not the only way to get males involved. That being said, I guess Caitlin Young was a somewhat suitable opponent, but they should have found someone Gina's size, because you could see during the fight that Caitlin was considerably smaller, and hardcore fans, of course, knew that she was smaller. Now, people will say this is an event, of course, not to appeal to the hardcore fans, it was to appeal to the new fans. But I think in order to create a real buzz, you need to appeal to the people who look at MMAweekly.com and MMAnews.com and SureDog.com and all those sites, and to get a buzz. Because in the end, you need to hook the hardcore fans, because some of the casual fans will come back for more. Some of them will only watch because of Gina Carano and Kimbo Slice. I don't really know if you want to do that. Or you could have had 2 Kimbo Gina fight, and you could have put something better together than Joey Villasenor and Phil Baroni and Brett Rogers and John Murphy. That's all I'm saying about the card. As for the fights, I mean, they delivered as much as they could. You had a questionable stoppage with James Thompson. Personally, I don't think the stoppage when it happened was controversial. I thought James Thompson actually should have got the stoppage at the end of the second round. When Boss Rutan says that he was worried at that point and that it probably should have been called at that point. And he's Kimbo's coach, his training man. One sec. Don't clown my chair. Cat's bugging me. You know that maybe the right call was not made, and also I don't know if they really should have even taken the chance of James Thompson winning, because I think they realized Kimbo's not that good. At least I hope they realized that. I mean, he has potential. He's coming a long way, but he's still not that good. and you put him in there with James Thompson. James Thompson almost could have probably laid Paredes away to victory if he was a better fighter on the ground, anyways. Also, you have the BS doctor stoppage with. Okay, I'm gonna put it as simple as possible. Having taken the finger to the eye. No, 5 seconds after I do this, I can't see. Duh. That's why you're supposed to have the 5 minutes to collect yourself, and then the doctor comes. The doctor comes in beforehand and looks at the eye, makes sure there's no damage. But they ask, can you see? They can ask it, but they're not supposed to stop the fight until the 5 minutes have passed, because in those 5 minutes you're not going to do any more damage to the eye. You may bore the fans, but it's going to do less than stopping the fight. That was a bad call. That was on the doctor, though, in the end. I think Scott Smith has legitimate beef. I mean, I don't know, it's probably not the smartest thing to tell a doctor you can't see, but at the same time, you're supposed to have 5 minutes. Anyways, that was my gripe on that. Also, the dancing girls were horrible. The rapper coming out, I didn't like it, although I suppose people can very legitimately use the argument that, other people liked it. Same with the dancing girls, I guess. I really don't think the dancing girls was a good idea. There were some technical difficulties, particularly if you lived in Canada and you were getting it off CBS relays it in Canada. What else was there? Well, there was a huge fiasco at the press conference where people complain about the UFC telling their fighters to sort of not say certain things at a press conference, but it's a good idea because we saw what happens with the Elite XC. You had Brett Rogers calling up Kimbo, which apparently won't happen according to Gary Shaw, which I would like to see that fight. I mean, those are two guys that are probably gonna stand with each other, and hopefully they don't go with the crowd because both have been boring. But that being said, you're looking at two guys who'll probably stand in back, probably give a really good fight. But they're going to feed Brett Rogers to Junior Silva, and I don't like that. That just continues to show that they're not willing to put Kimbo up against top competition. And then people wonder, or people like me, I've been called racist on this a number of times, keep saying, well, Kimbo isn't that good. I mean, he barely beat James Claus Thompson, who's not that good of a fighter, never has been that good of a fighter. Tank Abbott never has been that good of a fighter, and Bo Cantrell is a joke. So before people, start commenting on the video, Kimbo would beat Fedor, Kimbo would beat Randy, and I've seen these comments. I delete them because they're just that asinine. But wait till he fights somebody good. And there was a huge thing at the press conference where people were yelling, "You're ducking, you're hater," and so on. There are certain rules that you should follow at a press conference as a fighter, and I think the UFC is too strict. I think the UFC needs to get stricter. That's my opinion. It doesn't matter. I mean, the pauses where this was a free card, it got MMA to the people. It somewhat did everything it was supposed to do. It was supposed to be a showcase. It could have been much more, is what I'm saying. It could have been a lot better. But that's it for now, and message, comment, subscribe, whatever, but